Welcome to Module 2 of the Early Start Leadership Project. Today, we'll look at how meetings are conducted and why. This is essentially the nuts and bolts of meeting organization. We're going to cover 3 topics: open meeting laws, Robert's Rules of Order, and the difference between laws, regulations, and policy. While you're learning about these topics, think about your own experience when you've participated in or viewed different types of meetings. Did you see open meeting laws in action? Were Robert's Rules of Order used effectively to establish parliamentary procedure? Were you comfortable participating? Did you feel welcomed? And what do you feel would have been helpful for you to know before attending these meetings? In California, 2 specific laws ensure that the public has the right to access meetings held by many government bodies. The Brown Act governs public access to local government meetings like city councils and school boards. But our focus today will be on the Bagley-Keene Act, which governs the public's access to government meetings held at the state level. For example, the state ICC is a state government body and is subject to the rules of the Bagley-Keene Act. Together, the Brown Act and the Bagley-Keene Act are known as open meeting laws. Simply put, this means that if a meeting is going to be conducted by local or state government, the public must receive notification or public notice, have access to the meeting agenda and minutes, and may provide public input. The open meeting laws also allow exceptions for closed session meetings where the public is not allowed. For example, there may be issues related to confidentiality, such as personnel or discussions related to a minor. More information on these acts are available in the training reference section. Robert's Rules of Order define the parliamentary procedure that governs meetings. One of the key principles is majority rules. Decision-making is done by voting, and the majority dictates or rules the decision. Another key principle is majority and minority rights. This means that all members may speak and vote. Other principles include 1 question at a time, 1 person, 1 vote, and the use of motions to call for a vote or a ruling on a particular matter at hand. For example, on the state ICC, members are appointed by the governor. The community representatives are appointed by the chair. Only the ICC members have the right to vote. However, community representatives and other members of the public have the right to provide public input at the meeting regarding items being discussed. There are many resources on Robert's Rules of Order online and in your reference section. Now let's talk about the difference between laws, regulations, and policy. Laws are all about the preservation of rights. For example, the right to free, appropriate public education is defined in the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Laws are created by the government, either federal, state, or local, or they may also be created by citizens who vote the law into action. Laws must be enforced by the government, and when laws are broken, there are consequences. Regulations are issued by governmental agencies to provide specificity on how to implement law. Think of them as rules. Regulations are not laws, but following the regulations will prevent you from breaking the law. This helps to ensure everyone's rights as defined by the law. For example, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, is a federal law. The Federal Office of Special Education Programs, or OSEP, sets the regulations that apply to the states implementing IDEA. States adopt their own laws and regulations in order to align with the federal laws and regulations. A policy can be thought of as a map that guides the decisions of an organization or institution. Policies tend to be put in place either to clarify the implementation of regulations and laws, or as a response to an unforeseen problem. For example, IDEA, which is a law, mandates that each child receiving early intervention services must receive service coordination. Each regional center or local education agency has policies for assigning service coordinators. A simple way to remember the difference between laws, regulations, and policy is: laws are enforced through regulations. Regulations interpret how laws are implemented. Policies provide a course of action for how to implement regulations and achieve the intended outcomes of the law. Let's look at Part C of IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, for another example of how laws and regulations interact. Part C focuses on early intervention services to infants and toddlers between birth and age 3. IDEA is a federal law. The Code of Federal Regulations, Title 34, defines the rights that children are entitled to based on IDEA. To be in compliance with IDEA and federal law, California developed a state law called the California Early Intervention Services Act. California is the only state with a regional center system. Unlike other states, Part C of IDEA is implemented by California's regional center system. This is an example of how California keeps compliance with IDEA, the federal law, while enacting it in a way that is unique from other states. If you want to dive even deeper into the nuances of IDEA at both the federal and state level, the compilation of Early Start laws and regulations provides both state and federal regulations. You can find it at earlystartneighborhood.org. Representation of diverse groups in the development of laws, regulations, and policy is critical to ensure fairness. As we continue our curriculum, we'll be taking a closer look at the State Interagency Coordinating Council on Early Intervention, or State ICC, and how you can add your unique voice and experience to the process.